Welcome back, everyone. Jubilee Lipsy here. In the previous video about my author journey, we discussed how I came to self-publish and what I've learned about the process so far and what you can take away from that. But for this video, I sort of wanted to, this is the part 2 of the series on getting into self-publishing. And here I want to talk more logistics. I want to talk about the top tips of things that you need to consider when thinking about self-publishing in any fashion. However you choose to do it. In the previous video, I talked more about and linked to some of the things that I did. And even if you're not doing it exactly the way I did, there are some universal things that you're going to have to keep in mind. So I'm going to link to those down below and discuss that here. So if you want to self-publish, what do you need to know? And again, just to recap the other video, self-publishing is different than traditional publishing because basically you are spending the time and the expense to edit, design, format, and publish your book yourself, depending on who you hire. I wouldn't recommend, I don't know anyone that can do it completely alone, but you get to keep all the rights and you get to keep all the royalties. Now, that said, when self-publishing a book in any fashion, no matter how you do it, there are certain things you have to keep in mind. The first one is editing. This is where you really have to leave pride at the door. If you really care about what you're doing, if you really care about the message you're getting across, it's worth making sure that it's done right. If you don't care about the craft, if you don't care about getting it right, making sure the right message is being set forth, you're not ready to publish because you still have a very self-indulgent, narrow view of this whole thing. You have to see editing as a path to getting it where it needs to go. You want your book to be everything that it can be. And editing doesn't just have to do with punctuation. There's developmental editing, which is like the scope of the book and how it all ties together. There's copy editing, sentence structure, and clarity. And then there's punctuation and proofreading. Even if you are an amazing writer or think you're an amazing writer, especially if you've never had someone read your work before or been part of a writer's group, get someone who knows what they're doing. You are too close to the project to catch everything. I read my books more than 20 times and I still missed things. And that's not to say I obsess over those things, but I needed to get my book to a place where I was fully satisfied with it so I didn't have any regrets. And trust me, if you're not as mature a writer as you think you are, you want to know now before you publish something that sounds immature. There's so much of it online, and I've talked to so many authors who said that they were offended at first, but they were so happy to realize that they thought that they were up here as a writer, but they were actually right here. But finding that out, even though that's offensive, it's actually a good thing because you know where your baseline is and now you can work on it. I have learned so much about writing, and some of my attempts have been terrible, but I'm learning and learning and learning. You have to commit to never stop learning. So if you're thinking about publishing, editing is a must. First, get it to the place where you think it's as good as it can be, and then remind yourself it's probably going to be 12 more iterations. Cover design. And these points are not extensive, but these are just things that you have to consider. I'm not telling you step by step how you need to consider them, but just things you need to research. Cover design. Working with Paper Raven, my self-publishing company buddy, I used 99 Designs to create my covers. It's a subscription service where you pay for different levels. You write up a brief explaining what you want and you submit it to a group of designers who will provide options until you choose one you like and obtain the file. Do not underestimate this part. The cover is people's first look at your book. It is very, very important. ISBNs. You do not have to officially establish copyright with the Library of Congress. If you decide you want to, you can do it yourself on their website, or you can get a copyright lawyer to help you. It's actually not that expensive, but even if you choose not to do that, you do have to go to Bowker.com and purchase an ISBN for each version of your book. Like if you publish a paperback, a hardcover, and an ebook, you need a different ISBN for each of those. And an ISBN number has to do with the barcode on your book, so it protects you and it helps helps people find your book online. So you do have to do that well before publishing. And there are deals on Bowker.com if you want to purchase like 10 ISBNs at a time and just keep them in reserve for when you want to publish a book, then you have them ready. Uploading and printing is the next one. Unless you are literally going to print each book yourself with a local printer and sell them out of your house, which people do, you will either have to dive into the world of Ingram Spark on your own or find someone to help you, for which you will likely have to pay. Ingram Spark is Amazon's printer, and some people just publish directly through Ingram Spark, but the difficulty of uploading your file to Ingram drives writers crazy. It's getting all the correct margins, etc. It's so much easier to have a professional handle this part or someone walk you through it, but you will likely have to pay for that. Do not expect anyone to do something for free, and if it is, the quality may be suspect. Make sure that you always know what you're getting with different things. Permissions. If you're quoting anything in your book, make sure you have explicit permission from the author of whatever you're quoting. If you're using lots of Bible verses, reach out to the translator of the version you're using. Permission levels vary depending on how much of your book is directly quoted scripture. These are things you have to get right. You do not have the option to get this wrong. So this would be a reason in and of itself to get an editor to help you. Money. This is a big one. When you're a creative, this feels like a dirty word. I still hate it, but I am telling you right now, do not quit your day job. Any bit of entitlement, you have to throw it away and keep throwing it away because it's going to come back. If you self-publish, the majority of your sales are gobbled up by printing costs and what you put into the venture because you're the publisher. You're the one paying. This is something you do because you have to and because God is leading you. This is not something you do to get rich. It is a long game. And be assured you get what you pay for. If you want a professional editing or design job, you will have to pay for it. If you want, and trust me, whatever you think that is, multiply it by 10. That's what it's going to cost. In traditional publishing, the publishing house pays for all that, but they take your royalties and they still expect you to market your own book to a degree, and they can drop you and make you financially responsible for what doesn't sell. So there's no getting around this. Money is a big part of this. And that's very offensive when you see the meaning that's in and the value in what you're selling. You can't look at it that way. Not that you can't look at the meaning of it, but you can't look at it like money is not a part of this. It is. You just have to make peace with that. Now, launching. Setting up your book on Amazon means you will have to set up a KDP account on Amazon, fill out tax info, determine categories for your book. There are YouTube videos on how to do this, but it's very helpful to get some advice from someone in marketing or publishing to determine what keywords and categories would be best for your book. Correct placement will help your book sell better. And again, just a plug for the people I worked with, Paper Raven. The market research that they do on Amazon to make sure that your book is being placed in the exact part of Amazon that it needs to be. They have had traditional publishers tell them that they don't even do that much work researching for their published authors. They're just, because again, traditional publishers are banking on the fact that the author has enough fame and attention to drive the sales. But Paper Raven and other companies like them are going into market research and things like that. I actually shouldn't have said other companies like them because I haven't come across, there may be, but I haven't come across anyone exactly like Paper Raven. But again, you don't have to work with them. It's just who I worked with. And just be my goal with these videos is to make you aware, if you're interested in self-publishing, these are all the things you have to consider, and you either have to consider how to do them yourself or how to find someone that actually does this. And when you find someone who claims to do this, you need to research the heck out of them. You need to, research all the pros and cons and meet with them and ask them a ton of questions. So hopefully this will set you up for success, just knowing what needs to happen going into it. Distribution. This is a big one. A lot of misunderstanding around this. And it's better knowing it going into it than to wonder about it when you've already published. If you print with Ingram Spark and distribute on Amazon, what happens is it is print on demand, print by demand, which is very efficient because Amazon literally only orders from the printer what there is demand for. That way nothing is wasted. You'll need to link your bank accounts up with Ingram and Amazon when you're getting ready to publish. And sales reports are going to drop every 90 days. It's 90 days behind, and then you get a report from Ingram. Ingram and Amazon print on demand, which means you are going on those reports, you're going to see big chunks of books that Amazon ordered based on demand. You are not going to see individual sales. So if a bookstore in some little town ordered some books, you're not going to see anything about that on there. If your mom ordered 50 books, you're not going to see that on there. What you're going to see is Amazon's big orders. And out of that, let's say they ordered 20,000 books. Out of that is going to be your mom's order and your friend's order and your aunt's order and the bookstore's order. You're not going to see individual sales. And just leave all your expectations at the door. Bookstores. When you publish via Ingram Spark and Amazon, your ISBN numbers will be available so bookstores can order your book themselves if they want. But keep in mind, if they don't sell, like we're talking physical copies in the bookstore, physical copies, that's important because space in the store equals money. So if those books don't sell, the stores will likely send them back to you and you will have to absorb that financial loss. The only way to get around this is to go into your Ingram Spark account and mark your books unreturnable, but that discourages bookstores from carrying it because it's more of a risk. So it's a catch-22, nothing, or not a catch-22, but it's, pros and cons to both. Advertising and platform. This can be a frustrating part of the journey because after you spend a lot of time and money getting the book out there, then you have to promote it. You have to reach out to podcasts and websites and venues to see if they'll make room for you to give an interview or talk about your book. Advertisements will cost you. So if you want to appear in a magazine or on a book distributor's website, usually you have to pay for that. In order to stay connected with your followers and hopefully some influencers, it's very helpful to set up an email list and a website. I use MailerLite and Wix respectively. Also, a book-related social media page is helpful. You can run free promotions, you can share excerpts, you can share blog posts, you can inform people about your next project. So an email list and a social media page and a website are really, really helpful. And then you can go from there reaching out to podcasts and things like that. The main thing I want to emphasize is self-publishing is self-done. It truly takes a village, but you have to decide what that village is going to look like and who you're going to employ to help you with what. You always should research to establish understanding before agreeing to any contract with anyone, but you need to make peace with the fact that you will probably need some kind of help at some point. Trying to do everything yourself will burn you out and ruin your love for writing. So now that you are armed with some knowledge of what goes into it, pray about where you need help and where you are in the process. So, what's the upside in all of this? Hopefully I haven't scared you off, but here's the thing. If you're serious about this, you have to face the music sooner or later. Once you have the facts, and that's why I'm sharing this, once you have the facts of how things work, you can decide if it's for you or if you would rather move on to something else. For me, self-publishing is a daily journey of creativity, struggle, slow and steady impact, and dependence on God. Your journey is going to look different from mine, and each book you publish is going to be different. But if you truly want to do this, commit your way to the Lord, trust that your plans will be established in His timing and way, and keep writing. I hope this encourages you on your journey in kind of a behind the scenes way. And I will link to some of the things that I mentioned below, like how to set up an Amazon KDP account and the Bowker homepage, all of that. I hope you are encouraged, and I hope that you will jump into some of my books and explore those. You can find them on Amazon, or just go to jubileelipsy.com and click on my book page, and you can sign up for my email list there too. See you all next time.